experience in life. Yes. So intoxicated, man. You don't know why you do what you do. Yes. Be a law, breaking the law.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Life of a Car Guy podcast. I'm your host, Pete, the Car Guy. Thank y'all so much for joining me on such a beautiful Saturday morning. It is actually sunny and beautiful, and the weather is perfect. So I cannot wait to get started. And like we always do, we got a lot to cover. So you know how we do. We're going to go ahead and drop this What's Going On segment. Talk to me so you can see what's going on. What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, what's going on? What's going on? Right on, baby. Guys, I got some great news. We are definitely going to partner with R&R Embroidery. This is the referral that Mr. Sean Hicks, Take the Wheel episode 2 guest, has given us, and we've gone over several iterations of our logos and shirts. And I had an opportunity to have an extensive talk with Mr. Rob Walker, the owner and operator of R&R Embroidery, and he showed me some options that just knocked my socks off, just exceeded my expectations. So I am so looking forward to working with him and getting these done, and I'm hoping to have some samples to show you guys this month coming up. So everything's looking on the up and up there. Thank you again, Mr. Sean Hicks, for that stellar recommendation. Definitely came highly recommended, and I can't wait to work with him further, and I can't wait to share with you guys all the options that we have. So look forward to that. That's going to be coming up real soon. All right, guys. So Take the Wheel episode 4. We're going to have to postpone. I believe when I last spoke with them, Mr. Ford, Chris Ford, was not going to be available this weekend. Last minute change. We had to do some things, so no worries. We will reschedule that and get that Take the Wheel done, hopefully sometime this coming month. So I'll let you guys know more about that as it comes and develops, okay? Thank you guys again for checking out the website, www.lifeofacarguy.com. Continue to check out the blogs and the videos there, and continue to leave comments and like and subscribe as well. All right. Now, in the streets news. This one is really, really cool. I can't wait to dive into this. Mitsubishi has partnered with Nissan to bring back their mid-size pickup truck options. So this was reported on Automotive News actually yesterday afternoon, and they are actually going to partner. Mitsubishi is going to partner with the Nissan and develop the platform for their new truck that they're going to bring back. And this is going to be in the same segment with the Toyota Tacoma, the Nissan Frontier, the Chevy Colorado, the GMC Canyon, as well as the Ford Ranger. So I actually have an option here that I saw online of a particular prototype here. And this bad boy looks really, really good. It's very robust, got some great lines on it, and definitely is going to be a noteworthy competition or option to come in there. So I'm greatly looking forward to this. Now, one of the things about this is that I don't know if you guys remember, but back in the 80s and 90s, Mitsubishi had a truck called the Mighty Max. And it definitely was in a very strong truck segment back then, and they're going to bring that back. I don't know if it's going to be called Mighty Max or not. We will see, but that's going to be pretty awesome to check out. Now, another thing that's going to be great is that Nissan has also planned to introduce 13 new vehicle models that are going to be slated between this year and up through 2031. So they're definitely going to be back on the market with some strong options here very soon. I know you guys have seen Mitsubishi has broken back in the market with several SUVs, and one in particular is going to come back. Our namesake that we remember back in the day, the Montero. That's going to come back for the North American market, and I think they had a different name for it overseas. That option, I think, is called a Pajero or Pajero. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's going to be great. I got to tell you, my personal and professional opinion about this is awesome. I think this is going to really kind of help give even more options to a pretty decent model selection that's in the market right now of the trucks that I just mentioned. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Hopefully, we'll see an example within the next year or two. So that was an example that they're projecting out as a prototype. That's probably going to be very true to form and what that truck's going to look like on the market. So hopefully we'll see that very soon. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be very, very exciting, and also kind of help with the pricing options out there. The more options that are out there, the more competition, the more aggressive the pricing and the markets are going to be. So that's going to be awesome. Can't wait to see that. So anyway, let's go on to the topic of discussion today. And this is going to be the Car Guys Demo Series number 4. And that's going to be the Audi A6 Premium Plus. Now, this one was a very, very pleasant surprise. Now, I have an affinity for the German vehicles as far as their performance as well as the gas mileage. And for those of you who have been following me on my blogs and the previous podcast, I've kind of spoken about this particular model, but this one in particular was very, very strong and surprising with respect to the fuel range. Now, for those of you who remember the story that I shared with you back in summer of 2024, in my blog, I had talked about doing our yearly family trip to Huntsville, Alabama. So, my wife and my in-laws, and as well as my wife's aunt, we all kind of do a caravan down each year to Huntsville, Alabama to visit family. And that's such a fun and wonderful trip. And when I first did it, the first year I did that back, I think in 22, 23, I had a different type of vehicle that I was demoing at the time, and it didn't have the auto cruise. And one of the things that I remember when we were driving down the highway, we took I-95 south, and then we got on 85, and then we kind of ventured over from Georgia into Alabama. And once we kind of cut in, just before we got to Georgia, we kind of cut through Tennessee, and one of the things I do remember specifically around the hour time that we were driving between 4 and 4:30 in the afternoon, it was a whole lot of traffic. And I remember saying to myself, next time when I do this trip, I'm gonna get a vehicle that has that automated cruise. Now, for those of you who don't know what automated cruise is, imagine, if you will, you have cruise control set, and it basically will slow down and pick up based on the vehicle in front of you. So I'm gonna tell you, even at coming to a very slow crawl and even at a stop, that auto cruise will pick up and kind of follow the vehicle based on the preset miles per hour that you have it set for up until you reach that speed. And for stop and go traffic, and when you're dealing with heavy traffic, that is just a wonderful feature to have, because you don't have to worry about keeping your foot on the gas or stopping it and starting it and all that great stuff. So this year in 2024, I remember we all met up at my mother-in-law's and father-in-law's house in Petersburg. And the first thing I did was I filled up with gas. And when I topped it off just before we hit the highway, I noticed the fuel range right at 650 miles to empty. Now, I got to tell you, for a luxury vehicle, for any vehicle, that is really, really awesome. And one of the things that I was just so kind of gung ho on was to see if I could make it on one full tank from Petersburg, Virginia to Huntsville, Alabama. Now, that distance there is about a 10-hour drive, give or take any stops or, wet restroom breaks, and of course, pulling over, having a meal or two here and there. But I just remember when I was following them, they have a 21 Hyundai Palisades. And I remember they had to fill up, I think, once in between. And I remember telling my father-in-law, I'm like, "No, I'm good. I don't need to fill up. I'm gonna keep it going." And I got to tell you, not only was it such a great ride, but I was able to get within 10 miles from the gas stop that we did unexpectedly to Huntsville, Alabama. And let me tell you, I would have made it all the way to Huntsville, Alabama off of one tank if it wasn't for my wife seeing the gas light come on. And funny story, and you guys read the blog, you know what I'm about to talk about. So we were literally about 10 minutes outside of Huntsville and literally about 12 minutes from our destination. And I saw the light come on. Now, mind you, even though the gas light came on, we still had about 65 miles to ride until empty. Now, I'm thinking 10, 12 minutes, that's nowhere near going to kill the rest of the gas that's in the tank, right? So my wife looked over and she was like, what's that? And for those of you guys that know my beautiful, amazing wife, she does not like to see a gas light come on at all. It doesn't happen. So I tried to convince her. I was like, listen, we're going to make it. We're going to be fine. Everything's cool. And she proceeded to pick up her phone and basically say, yeah, we're pulling over to the next gas stop. Yes, the gas light is on. And so she was talking with my mother-in-law, her mother. So we pulled over and to a gas station that was like literally about 7 miles outside of Huntsville. And I saw my mother-in-law get out the car and look at me with such a scowl on her face. And she looked me right in my eye and she said, boy, don't you let me show the other side of me to you right now. And let me tell you, that's all I needed to hear. I proceeded to fill it up all the way up. And 10, 12 minutes later, we arrived at our destination. So, needless to say, I believe, as I strongly, strongly believe that I could have gone on one tank from Petersburg, Virginia to Huntsville, Alabama. But anyway, so let's talk about the particulars of this vehicle. Now, one of the things I loved about the Audis, especially in this year range, was the tech. It just was, the instrument panel was just amazing. Now, number one, Audi already has a very clean, very contemporary look. And they're definitely well known for their performance, their ride quality, but the tech is just out of this world. It's beautiful. So the instrument panel not only showed a heads up display, but it also had a dual multi-informational screen. So the top screen, which was touchscreen, you could control everything on there. You could see the maps, the navigation, seamless integration with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, by the way. But it also had a touchscreen right below that operated the seats as well as the temperature gauges. This particular model that I got, the Premium Plus, not only had the adjustments for the temperature control, dual temperature, it also had the dual fan control. So my wife and I could have separate temperatures and separate fan speeds, which was excellent. So, give you an example. I like to drive with a very cool temperature. My wife wants it kind of moderate, like mid to upper 70s, roughly, and the air to kind of blow below, like on her feet. So she was able to control that and, independent of everything I was doing on my side, which just made the drive even more comfortable because we never had to play around with the temperature settings and adjust it based on what we felt comfortable in each of our seats. In addition to that, it also had a 10-way power seat adjustment with lumbar support for both the driver and the passenger. Now, why that's so important, especially on a long trip, is that for passengers, typically on a lot of vehicles, there's only like a four-way adjustment, and some may or may not have the lumbar option as well. But with the 10-way for each seat, it really made it for a very independent, specifically set drive and feel that just made the seats very comfortable for both of us. And on top of all that, the suspension was just so very smooth. Now, a couple of specs on this particular option. This was a four-cylinder turbo gas vehicle with a 2.0 liter engine. Now, with this particular option, even though it was a four-cylinder, with the turbo, it had a 261 horsepower and 273 pounds of torque, which made the overall speed and acceleration delivery seamless. Now, with respect to the pickup and everything, it was definitely very responsive. It just wasn't one of those things that would throw you out of your seats. So it was a very, very comfortable mix with that. In addition to this, it also had a 7-speed dual clutch automatic. Now, a dual clutch automatic specifically helps to deliver a very seamless drive, so you don't feel the changing gears as much as you would on like a regular 5-speed automatic. So it was just a smooth delivery all around, and it really gave for a very high quality ride and feel. So in addition to that, all Audis, as you guys are probably aware, are going to be all-wheel drive. So we kind of talked about the example of what all-wheel drive is, so we don't have to go over that. The actual EPA rating for this on average was 23 in the city and 32 miles on the highway per gallon. Now, with respect to this, just kind of give you an idea, because we did all highway and our stops were very infrequent. That's why we were able to really see just about 650 miles off of one tank. And I think just before I filled it up, we got to about 637 on the range. And I got to tell you, it was just such a very smooth ride, just very, very comfortable. The tech, if you are a tech person and you love a lot of vehicle technology and just kind of seeing all the various buttons and controls and just having a very kind of like a just a smooth, luxurious feel while delivering on power and precision, the Audis are the way to go. I got to tell you, I love the way they drive. I love the way they feel. But with respect to that, let's go ahead and go to the car guys car review. So first off, performance. I'm going to give this between a 4 and a 5. And the reason why I'm going to do that specifically, and that's the five car guy, 5 car rating. With respect to this, it wasn't one of those super high performance, hit the horsepower, throw you back in your seat type of feel. It was a smooth, seamless response with respect to acceleration. So that on that type of delivery was awesome. Now on the 3.0 6 cylinders, you're going to have a more of a higher punch and horsepower there. Those are going to be right around in the low to mid 300s in horsepower, and the torque is going to be slightly above that. So you will see that throaty kind of like, oh, wow, here we are kind of response on that. And of course, on the S models, the S6s, those are even more powerful and kind of going to deliver even a throatier and then a nicer kind of acceleration and punch. So with this, I would give the performance between a 4 and a 5, but I'm gonna stay with the 5 car guy 5 car review. Fuel efficiency, this without a doubt is probably one of the most fuel efficient and highest range of sedan vehicles, non-hybrid, that I've ever experienced. And to tell you, I would have been able to hit that 650 miles before running out of gas, in my professional opinion. So for the fuel efficiency on this one, I got to give it a 5. Was absolutely awesome with respect to the delivery, very smooth. And like I said, I know for a fact I would have made it all the way to Huntsville from Petersburg without having to fill up. Now, reliability on these vehicles, I will probably give this, I won't say probably, I'll kind of stand firm on this option. I will give this a car guy rating of 4 cars out of 5. Audis are definitely a very strong vehicle. I actually, back in last October, purchased a 2019 Audi A5, and that's the hatchback, sport hatchback version. That one actually gives me really good gas mileage. I think on a full fill up for an entire week, I can go, and I do a lot of highway driving for Monday through Friday. So I would say on average, on every fill up, I'm right at about 500 to 520 miles on a fuel range with that option. And that particular vehicle has about a little over a 12-gallon tank. So that's pretty good with respect to that. And even though it takes premium gas, as of right now, I'm getting right at about $60 to $62 on a full fill up with that option, which is awesome. Now, with this particular vehicle, as far as reliability, and I'm speaking to the A6, it's a lot of gadgets, a lot of technology. With vehicles like this, I always recommend doing the extended service plan because with all that tech, you've got so many different computer boards and just a lot of components that unfortunately don't get repaired. They're actually going to be replaced. So if you have a small short in one area, it's going to cause a lot of replacements for a lot of the major components. So with vehicles like these, I strongly suggest doing an extended service plan option just so you protect yourself long term for any kind of future electronic issue. But I would say, as far as the models that I've tested over the years and the specific vehicle that I've owned so far, it's really given me a good, not only great riding vehicle, but it's been pretty solid. I haven't had any major issues with my model so far. And I'm about to hit close to 60,000 miles on my odometer as we speak. So I would say I would stick with the 4 rating on the reliability. Resale value on these, I would also give this a car guy car rating of 4 cars as well. Unlike what you see with the Hondas and the Toyotas, and when we talk about luxury models, I think the Lexus, in my professional opinion, has the highest resale value option in the luxury vehicle segment. And then next one would probably be the Acura, and then of course in the Infinity, and the Genesis is also starting to creep up there as well too. But with respect to resale value on these options, as they get a little older, with respect to mileage and years, you will kind of see a lag in the resale value there. And that's typical with a lot of the German vehicles when they're getting into higher mileage options. Some of them start having more issues when they get above 100, 150,000 miles. Not saying that you can't keep them and they cannot be reliable, you just see a little bit of a higher, uh, you know, repair frequency within those models as they get a little older and higher mileage. Now, with respect to the overall experience with this particular option, I gotta give this a strong car guy 5 car rating on this. The ride quality, the tech, the smoothness of the delivery of the acceleration, the automated cruise. I will tell you, when we did experience heavy traffic there, the vehicle was able to slow down at a very smooth rate and kind of keep pace with vehicles in front. And the great thing I loved about that was that I didn't have to turn it off and on and kind of finagle with that. So it definitely cut down on the road weariness, especially on a 10-hour drive. That was something that I would strongly recommend for anyone that does a lot of highway driving. Definitely, that's a great feature that you want to have, especially if you're going in and out of a lot of heavy traffic with where your commute is. So great riding vehicle. I definitely recommend this to anyone and everyone who's looking for a smooth, sporty, yet luxury feel. All around great quality option there. All right, guys. So now we're at the drop a dime segment here. Now, this one came to me as a great question here, and I'm kind of reminded back in the day when my father first purchased his first Honda, and he bought it from Rick Woodson Honda. And I talked about this in one of my previous podcasts. He had a '92 Honda Accord. And with this Accord, one of the things that he told me was he would do a fuel injector treatment every so often. And I thought about this, and back in '92, with the engines and vehicles were vastly different than what they are now. So I thought about, are they still fuel injector cleaners, mind you? Are they still relevant and widely used? And I would have to say a resounding yes. And let me tell you why. Fuel injectors specifically are made to kind of clean out not just your engine, but also dissolve carbon, gum buildup, as well as varnish deposits that basically can affect your overall fuel economy, and it can alter the fuel spray. So if you have a direct injector with respect to the aspiration of the fuel into the engine, A lot of times that buildup will cause either a delay or a disparity in the spray with respect to the fuel. And what happens is that that can lead to a rough idle, also can lead to a lot of hesitation in your vehicle, especially on the accelerations. And as I mentioned, it can also decrease the fuel economy. So I was looking this up here, and a couple of sources, one in particular that I looked up, elonfuels.com. So this particular site had some great recommendations on how frequently to do a fuel injector cleaner. So on average, every 3 to 5,000 miles is a great interval to insert a fuel injector cleaner. Now, mind you, for those who aren't aware how to do this, it's basically a small bottle that you insert inside of your gas tank, right? Now, there's a little bit of a disparity when to do it. Some people say you do it before you put gas in. Some people tell you to do it right after you fill it up. So I would recommend to check out, you can google.com this or go to elonfuels.com, a great resource, and you can input your year, make, and model of vehicle to determine what's going to be not only the best fuel injector option, but how you should apply the fuel injector. If I remember correctly, my father used to tell me on the Accord, he would fill it up and then insert it. And then I've also heard of mechanics saying before you fill it up, insert it first and then put the gas in it as well. So kind of tomato, tomato, but I would definitely check out your year, make, and model to see how you should go about doing that. Now, for short trips, so if you're doing a lot of stop and go traffic, it's recommended to do a fuel injector cleaner every 2 to 3,000 miles. For those of you like myself, do a lot of highway driving and it's not a lot of stop and go traffic, you can do it every 5 to 7,000 mile intervals. But typically, the average is every 3 to 5,000 and or every other oil change. Just so you're aware. Now, I also looked up some available options that came highly recommended, and that list is as follows. There is a brand that's called Liquid Moly Jetron. There's a BG44K. There's a Chevron Techron. That one, from what I read, along with Liquid Moly, is definitely great for the German vehicles as far as some good options. The tried and true, and this is one that I think my father used to do with the Accord, the Lucas Oil. Those options for fuel injectors are also very good for certain models. And then, of course, there's another option called Seafoam SF16. That's also a pretty highly recommended option there, too. So, if you are interested in just kind of taking better care of your vehicle and kind of doing the things to minimize the issues with respect to decreased fuel economy as well as hesitation in the acceleration, I would strongly recommend looking into the fuel injectors as a viable option. And this one we can kind of do ourselves. You don't necessarily need a mechanic. These options should be available in a lot of your retail outlets and stores like Advanced Auto, AutoZone, Pep Boys, and the like. Okay. And be sure that you're researching the year, make, and model based on the option type you should be using for the fuel injector. Okay. All right, guys. So let's go to the announcements. So we are just about done doing the refreshers on the YouTube channel videos. I've got a few more that I want to do. And I'm also going back to make sure everything has the made for children switch to off. Now, mind you, once again, these videos are made for anyone and everyone of all ages. We don't do no cursing or do a lot of negative energy type of vibes on here. So just to make you aware, even though I'm turning that feature off, that's mainly just for it so everyone can leave comments. So I will turn that feature off, hopefully, and get all that done by the end of this weekend. So if there are videos that you've seen that you want to go back and leave comments on, or if you want to do it on all of them, feel free. I would say by the end of tomorrow evening, all those should be updated and done. Okay. Now, we're about to sign off and finish up for the day, guys. So, once again, homework assignment. Please be sure to tell 5 other individuals, families, people, whoever you come across, that have not subscribed or have not seen the videos, have them check out the videos and like and subscribe, as well as check out the website at www.lifeofacarguy.com. Also, for the Drop a Dime segment, let me go back to that real quick. For those that want to continue to ask questions and leave comments and get shout outs on the podcast, feel free to do so. That's going to be thelifeofacarguy@gmail.com. So a little different, thelifeofacarguy@gmail.com. All right, guys. So once again, I just want to tell y'all, thank y'all so much for riding with me once again today, and want to say praise God because he's always got the wheel. And though we may not always agree, it is just very important that we respect one another and have kindness admitted to one another. Thank you guys again for joining me on such a beautiful Saturday. Praise God and stay up. I'll see y'all on the road.